Okay. So today we'll see the types of the array. So we have already discussed the single dimensional array. So again I'll just shortly explain what does it mean by the single dimensional array. So let's see. So first of all, we know that array is a similar data types or the homogeneous elements. Okay, it can store the homogeneous element. That means if you are trying to define the integer, then you cannot define the float and doubles value. Okay, you cannot define the another data types. First of all, if you are trying to add this 10, 20 and 30, so you cannot add the characters and the string inside this. Okay, you cannot add the another data types. Okay, so this is the meaning of the array, and here it's all the arrays store the continuous memory location. So if that 10 is stored, so continuously this 20 is also stored. After that it will store this 30. Okay, so it will store this 30, and how we can declare? So here we have a lot of way to declare or declares our array. So you can just declare like this. First of all, int of and the a. You can also define like this as well. Like here we have a int and with attachment this of is there, and after that here we have a name of our array. Or you can attach all of this thing with one, like int of and the a. Okay, here we have a int a and the of. Okay, most preferable way, that is int of a space a. So all the developer mostly they are using this only. So you can also use like int of and the a. Okay, this is the way of declaration. And the next thing is, you can, when you are declaring the array, that time you cannot define the size. Okay, declaration, instantiation and the creation are the different things. Like when you are defining, when you are declaring that means this one, you are declaring the array. Okay, you are declaring one array with this a name and you haven't defined the size. So when you are creating, that time we have to define the size. So how we can create? Like by using the new, and here we can also use the int. Okay, and here we can define the size of this array. Yeah, like this way we can declare, we can create. But the thing is, when you are declaring the array, that time you cannot define the size. Okay, so this is not a good thing. That time you cannot define the size. Okay, so just keep this thing in mind. After that, when I'm just using like this, consider int. Right now I'm just defining a, and after that here I'm defining the b. What does it mean? So when you have added this of symbol. Okay, so when you are adding this of symbol in front of this int, that means after that whatever the variable you are defining, this becomes your array. Okay, so how it will represent? Like int of a, it will like that. Okay, and again int of b. Okay, so these both are the arrays. When you are defining the a and the b, that means these are the arrays. Okay, but the thing is, when you are defining like this, int a of, that means this a only a array, and when you are defining this b is just simple integer variable. It's just simply integer variable. It is not a data, it is not a array. But when you are defining a and the of, that means this one is your array, but this one is not your array. Okay, so for that we have to define like this, then it will become your array. So this is the thing. After that, we know that how we can create the array. So here we have declared it, and like this way we can create our array. So here you see I have I'm just defining the size of my array, and this size I'm allocating to this, I'm assigning this size to this my array. So this is the thing. And okay, so whenever we are creating our array, so that time this is the mandatory thing, it's a crucial, compulsory. So we have to define the size. Okay, after that, here you can if you want to define this both thing in a single line, then you can just simply use like this, int of a is equals to new int of 3. Okay, this is the thing. And consider, now you haven't written anything inside your array, you don't want to define the size. That time you just do one thing. Inside the size, when you have defined like this, inside this 3 you can also define the 0. That means you have created the array with 0 size, but it will not show the error, it will execute successfully. Okay, so before this line what we have said, size is compulsory, so I have defined the 0 size. So this is also a size, no? Yeah, here you can define the negative as well. Okay, so it will this program will execute successfully, but when you try to compile, that time it will throws the negative array size exception. So just keep this thing in mind whenever you are trying to add the negative size. So this one is my negative size. When I have create the array, this is the way of creating the array. So when I have passed the size that is negative, that time it will program will execute successfully. But in future when you try to compile it and run, that time it will throws the negative array size exception. Okay, this is the way of the creating. Later that you can initialize. How we can initialize? We already knows that by using the index of this array we are initializing the value, that is 10, 20 and the 30. At array 0th index we are storing 10, at array index 1 we are storing 20, and the array index we are storing 30. Okay, and if you try to see, consider this is the size of our array. Okay, and if you are trying to add the in index 4 you are trying to add the 40, so it will throw the array index out of the box exception. This is the thing. Okay, yeah, later that if you want to retrieve, that means you want to print the element or you want to retrieve the element, then we have such a ways, like we have the looping statement. By using the looping we can easily print the elements. Like here you see, first way, here we have a for loop, simple, that is a simple for loop, and after that they have introduced one concept, that is for each loop. So you can also use this for each loop for iterating the elements of your array. Okay, so this is the thing. Now we can see the multi-dimensional arrays. So see, this is the short explanation for the single dimensional array. Today we'll see the multi-dimensional. So what does it mean by the multi-dimensional array and why we are using it? So now I'll give you one scenario, like you want to store the data in the matrix format. Like consider you want to store and display the data in the format row and the column. Okay, such types of requirement will come, then what we will do? So for that we have one concept, that is multi-dimensional array. Okay, you can just simply use the multi-dimensional array. Like here it is saying an array having a multiple rows and the column is known as a multi-dimensional array. It is also known as a matrix form. Two-dimensional array is also known as a matrix form. So this one is our matrix form. Okay, this is nothing but our matrix form. So if you want to store the element like this format, or you want to show the element like this format, then you can use the multi-dimensional array. And second thing, why we call as a 2D. So that means here you see, inside this array, this is our main array. We can also store the sub array, that is nothing but the 2D. So here we have a main array, and inside this array we are storing some different value. This is nothing but our two-dimensional array. Okay, this is the thing. 3D array, that means there we have a 3D array, that means 3 rows. Okay, so let it be about right now. So we'll see this one. So here this one is our 2D representation, 2D dimensional representation. Okay, so here now I just want to add or retrieve this 10. So how we can retrieve it? So here this is the row 0 and this one is the column 0. So when you are defining the row 0 and the column 0, then you will 10. Okay, this is the row 0 and this one is the column 1. So when you are defining this 0 and the 1, then you will get this 20. Okay, here this one is the 0 and here we have a 2. So when you are using a 0 and the 2, then you will get the 30. Okay, here the same thing, like here right now we are in the row 1 and this one is our 0. So when you want this 40, you have to call like this 1 and 0, then you will get the 40. Okay, but where this index is present, this all of this index is present inside our array, but we haven't given the name to our array. So we have to give the array first, name of our array. So consider here we have given like array. Okay, now you can easily access. How you can access? You can just simply name up your array. Later that which value you want to access. Now consider I just want to retrieve this 50. So what is the row? That is 1, and what is the column? That is 1. Okay, so you can just simply define the inside the of, that is 1 row and 1 column. Okay, once you have defined like this, now you will get the 50 value. Okay, this is the thing. And after that, I have already told you, here you see there is also known as array of arrays. Okay, because array is present in another array. Now I'll show you what does it mean inside the array. So this one is our array, like consider I have given the a name, this one is our array, that is 0 and the 1 index. But inside this 0 we have another array. Here you see inside this index we have another array, that is 10, 20 and the 30. Okay, and inside this 1 we have another array, that is 10, 20 and the 30. So this is also called as a array of array. So inside your array maybe we have another array. Yeah, this is the thing. So how we can declare? First of all, so we can declare like this way. So we have this way, by using this way we can easily declare our array. So it will represent 2 square bracket. So whenever you want to recognize the 2-dimensional array, then you can just simply use this 2 of. Here we have a 2 of. Okay, and later that you can just define the name of your array. So here these are the way by using you can declare it. Okay, after that most preferable way, that is int 2 times of and a. Here int, here we have to write 2 times of and after that a. Okay, this is the way most preferable, like all the developers follow this one only, so you can just also use this. Okay, and we cannot declare the size. So when we are declaring the 2-dimensional array, that time we haven't declared the size here. So when you have declaring, it will throws the exceptions. Okay, we cannot declare, this is the incorrect statement. Okay, this is the thing. And after that, here that I have already told you, when you are defining like this, like int of a and the b, that means this a and the b both are your multi-dimensional array. Okay, when you are defining the this size, like this of symbols of representation of the array, when you are defining in front of this int data types, then this both are becomes your multi-dimensional array. But when you are defining like this int a of and after that here you are defining the b, that means this a is your multi-dimensional array and this b is just simple your integer data type. Okay, here now how we can create the multi-dimensional array. Okay, how we can create the multi-dimensional array. So this is the way of declaration. Okay, you can declare like int of and later that a. This is the way of declaration, and when we want to create it, then whatever we have created we have to whatever we have declared we have to create it later. So here this is right now empty. Okay, this one is a empty. Now I am just assigning the size inside this array. So for that we have to create it. So how we can create? By using the new keyword. And whenever we are using the new keyword, this is nothing but your object. What we are creating the object. Okay, new int, and here I am just defining the size, that is 3, and here I am just defining the 2. First of all, this 3 is nothing but the row and this is nothing but the column. Okay, so this is the way of declarations. Now we can just simply see it here. So first it's compulsory to declare the size of an array at the time of creation. So when we are creating the array size, like here you see, you can also define like this. You can just declare and create within a one line. Okay, so how we can create? Here we have to define the name and later that new. Here you can also use the int, and here you can just use 2 and 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay, in this way you can declare it. So when you are creating, that time we have to define the size. Okay, otherwise it will throws the error. Yeah, this is the thing. Okay, and here the same thing, if you want to define the 0 size. Okay, sometimes some cases will come. In this case you don't want to define the size. That time you can just simply do one thing, you can just pass the 0 and 0. Yeah, and when you are using the negative size, so it will execute, that program will successfully compile, but when you are trying to run, okay, so that time it will throws the negative array size exception. Okay, so now we will see programmatically how we can create the array. Come here, remove this all the stuff. Okay, so here I have removed everything. Now I am just creating the array. So how we can create? Okay, so how we can create the array? So you can just simply use the main method first. Inside this main method we will create the array. Yeah, this one is our main method, and you can just define the size, or you can create the array. So here I am just using double of and after that a. So this is the most preferable way of defining the array. Okay, so here new, again you can just define the size. Now here I am just defining 2 and here I am defining 3. Okay, in this way you can define the array. Okay, but it's very hectic, like if I just want to initialize the size, then for that every time we have to use a of, here I am just using 0 and in here I am just using 1, and inside that we have to assign the value that I have assigned, that is 10. Okay, later that if I want to assign, like what we have done here now, what we have done here, so we have created okay, so inside that what we have done, we have created one array with the matrix format. Like here we have a 2, that means 0 and the 1, here we have 1, 0, 1 and 2. Like this way we have created, that means row 2 and 3 column. Okay, in this way we have created. And now in this 0 and the 0, if I want to assign any element, okay, then we have to call it, like this one is my array name, you can just define 0 and 0, and inside this you can just simply pass 10. Okay, so just go there, here we have to use the 0 and the 0, and you can just pass 10. Now later that I just want to store the 20 here. Okay, so how we can store the 20? We have to use the a. In this row 0, in this one column we have to add 20. So like this way we have to use it 0, and here we have to use the 1, and we have to pass 20 here. Okay, like this same way 0 and 2, and here you can just pass 30. Okay, done. Again, now I just want 1, you can just simply paste, and in here we have to change the 1 and 1. So how we are doing right now? So now if you want to pass, here we have passed 30. So how we have passed, like 0 and here 2, that is 30. Now I just want to add the value here, that is 40. So how we can do that thing? So in right now inside the row 1 in column 0 we have to store 40. Okay, here we want to store 50 and the 60. How we can do that thing? Inside row 1 and the column 1 we have to store 50. Inside the row 1 and the column 2 we have to store 60. Inside the row 1 and the column 2 we have to store 60. Or this is the way we have to do it, and we have done. Okay, now I just want to iterate this value. So how we can iterate it? So we need 2 for loop. For this, whenever you want to iterate these types of values, so for that we need 2 for loops. Okay, so how we can do that thing? So use the for loop in I is equals to 0 first time I have used, and later that you can just simply use I less than a dot length. Okay, and you can just simply use I plus plus. Another for loop we have to use it and in this for loop we'll just try to iterate the j is equals to 0, j less than a of I dot length and you can just simply use I plus plus. Okay, we'll try to add right now. Okay, why it has shown the error? We haven't declared it, so that's why. Okay, this thing is done now. I'll explain you. Before that, we'll just have to write the code and try to run it. It will execute or not. So here I'm just defining I, and here I'm just defining the j. And now we'll try to execute it. Okay, it has shown the 10, and later it throws the array index 2 outer bound for the length 2. This time it has print 10, so just remove this one and simply a of I till a of I we have to go a of I only, no, we have to go till a of I and the length. Okay, so here what we have done here, we have uses the j, so we have to change from j a dot length. Okay, again we'll just try to execute it. Okay, so this time it has printing the 10, 20, 30, and again it has printed 10, 20 and the 30. Okay, so the thing is we just have to go inside the new line first. Okay, so now it will print. Okay, this thing is done now. Okay, so here we have a 10, 20, 30. We have to change from 40, 50, and here I need 60. Okay, and I just don't want to be end the line, so here I'm just doing is I'm using a plus and give the space. Let's try to run now. Okay, so now I'll show you. See, in this way we have printed. So now I'll just show you how we can do that thing. Okay, so here you see, first time what we have done, like we have assigned the variable, like this is the variable, that means this is the element that we have assigning to this our array. Okay, this is the element that we have assigned to this indexes. Okay, later that now we want to iterate this value. So how we can iterate? So first of all, this first one for loop is representing the row. Okay, this first for loop is representing the row. So here in this format we have like we have a 0th row and we have 1, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, and here inside this we have an element that is 10, 20 and the 30. Later that here we have 40, 50 and the 60. Is it no? So this value we have to print it now. So first one is representing the row, that is 0. Okay, and where it will go till the a dot length. Okay, till it will go to the a dot length. So we know that first of all we have a 0 and we have a 1. So it will go to the length of your array. Yeah, that is 2. So it will go to 0 and the 1, and when it's going to 2, so this condition is false. Okay, later that here we have a this is for the column, this one is for the column. So this is the row, we have captured it. Now we have this row, and here in the J we have the column as well. Okay, and where we have to go till the length of this I. Okay, till the length of this I. That means here what I have done, here I have defined the condition. That means a of I nothing but this 0. Okay, the a of I is nothing but this 0. And what is the length of this? That is 10, 20 and 30. That means 2 is the length of this array. Okay, that 0th row, 2 is the length, that is 0, 1 and 2. This one, 0, 1 and 2. Okay, this is the thing. So first of all, it has come to this 0, J, and it has printing this 0. Like a of I, what is the value of the I? I value is 0. So you can just define the 0. What is the value of the J? J is nothing but your column. So here J is also 0. And what is stored inside this 0 and 0th index? So here in the 0 and the 0th index we have a 10. So this 10 is printing. Second time it will increase this J by 1. Here you see it will increment the J by 1. So it will increment the J value. So this time what it will happen, a row 0, because we haven't increment the row. Till this condition is not false, we will not go to this row. So it will increment this statement by 1, this J. So right now 0 and 1. So here we have a 10, row 0 and column 1. So what we have inside the row 0 and column 1, we have a 20. So it will print the 20. After that again this condition will go, like it will increment the J by 1. So what is the value of the J now? 0, and it will increment by 1. So 1 plus 1, that is 2. Okay, and inside that here we have a 30. In the row 0 and the column 2 we have a 30. So it will print this 30. Okay, and when it will go again, so this time this condition is false, because here we don't have a 3. Okay, so this J has incremented, and the J will check with this length of this I, that means this row length, and it has only this 2. So this condition is false. So it will go here, it will print this, and that means next line. So for that we have come to a next line. Okay, later again it will increment this I by 1. So now this row is incremented by 1, this I value. So it will come inside this row. Okay, again we will go inside this for loop, and we will check what is the value of the J, 0. So it will start from this column 0 now. Okay, so this is now A of row 1 and the column 0. So what it will print? It will print the 40. Okay, again it will increment value by this J by 1. So now we have a J value that is 0. So it will increment by 1. So 1. So row 1 and the J 1. So it will print the 50 this time. Again it will increment now 1, and here it will 2. So it will print the 60. Okay, this is the thing. And every time we have given the gap here. See how this gap is came? Because of this. After we have added one value, and later that I have concatenated this gap. Till now anyone having any issue, guys? Is there any issue? Okay, so now I'm just moving to a forward. Now we'll see the anonymous array. This thing is done. Okay, now we'll see the anonymous array. So what does it mean by the anonymous array? So it's just simple array without any name is known as an anonymous array. Okay, in our Java, in C and the C++, we don't have this concept, that is anonymous array. Okay, but in our Java we have introduced one concept, that is anonymous array. Okay, so why we are using it, and what is the use cases of the anonymous array? So first, an array in a Java without any name is known as the anonymous array. That means nameless. Okay, the array is there but without a name, that is known as a anonymous array. And why we are using it? For creating instantly, okay, and using it. See, it is only a one time use. Okay, we will use only once. anonymous array we use only once. Okay, this is the thing. And now we'll see how we can create it. So for creating the anonymous array, we just have to use the new. Here we have to define the int, and you can just simply define the anonymous array. Now here you see, in this array, here we don't have the name of our anonymous name of our array. Okay, we haven't the name. You can also create like this: int float of curly braces open. You can just define 10.20 comma 30.40 comma, and here you can just define 50.16, anything, whatever you want. You can just define the anonymous array as a multi-dimensional array as well. So int character of yeah, and here you can just define the multi-dimensional array. So here you can just define a, b comma b, and here you can just define the c. Okay, and once it will done, you can also define this curly braces. Yeah, this is called as a anonymous array. So mostly this anonymous array is used for the instance creation and instantly use. Okay, this is only for the once. We can only use this anonymous only once. Okay, yeah, this is the thing. And mostly we can use this anonymous array for passing to any methods. Okay, we can use for passing to any method. So now I'll show you how we can do that things. So you can just simply remove this. Okay, so here I have removed. Here this main method is okay. Now I'm just creating a method. I don't want to create the object, so that's why I'm just using a static void, and here I'm just printing the array. Okay, and here I'm just passing the array, int array of, and here that is okay. I'm just passing single of. Here I have defined the parameter. Inside the parameter I have defined this array. Okay, inside this parameter what I have done, I have defined this array. Okay, no, but whenever I'm passing from this, now I'm just passing, see here, print array. I have called this method, and here I'm just passing the anonymous array. So here in this time I'm not creating the name of this array. Okay, so here int of, and inside this you can just simply add. Okay, in this way you can easily pass the anonymous array. So this is the way you can pass it. Okay, this one is a random value. Here we don't have any name of this array. Okay, this is the thing. Now we have passed. Now you can just simply, where it will store, this value will store inside this variable. Inside this array this value will store. Okay, so this is nothing but our reference variable. Okay, we don't need to create the reference variable here. And when we have passes inside this parameter. Now you can just simply print this value by using the for loop. Int I is equals to 0, I less than, like array dot length we have to use it. Okay, and I plus plus. And here inside this you can easily pass system.out.print array of I. So when we are using the array of I, it will print the element, and when you are using only the I, then it will print the index. Okay, here I am using the I, that means this is nothing but our index. So I'll show you. So this is the index, that is I. Okay, later that, okay, I have given the space, and this one is our element. Okay, so now just try to run it. Okay, so here you see now. Here you see guys, here we have a index 0, and the index 0 we have a element 10. On the index 1 we have a element 20. On the index 2 we have a element 30. On the index 3 we have a element 40. Okay, so this is the thing. Okay, we can also do one thing. We can also return the anonymous array. Okay, we can use the anonymous array only for these things. Like if we want to pass some array, So you can use the anonymous. You can want to return the anonymous, then you can just simply use the anonymous array if you want to return it. So how we can return? So for that you can just simply use one method, you can use it anything. So here I am using this method only, int, and this time I am using the integer of array. Okay, integer of array I am using, and I don't want to pass these things now. Why? Because of I am returning it. I am returning this array, so I don't want to pass anything. And let it be about this code. Okay, you can just simply return new int of, and you can just simply pass the anonymous 10 20. Here I am passing the elements. Okay, this thing is done now. So what I am doing is, here I have created one array, and by using this return statement, I am return keyword, I am passing to this method. Okay, this method, and this method is accepting the parameter in the form of this array, accepting this all the element in the form of this array. And here we have an integer, that's why I have defined here int. Okay, now we don't have this element there, so we have to remove it. Okay, and we know that inside this method is returning something. So what this method is returning? This element. Okay, so we have to store this element somewhere. So I'm just simply using one array, I'm creating one array, and inside this array I'm just storing this data. Okay, so now this method is returning one array, and this array I'm just created, and we know that this array is types of integer, so that's why I have created here int, and here I have defined the array name. Okay, now you can easily iterate this array by using the for loop. Otherwise you can use the for each loop. Here I am using a for each loop now. So int, like here I have created one count, and here otherwise you can just write here element, and here you can just use this array. Okay, you can use curly braces open and the close. Okay, now you can use system.out.println, and you can just simply paste. Okay, here you can just use the element. Okay, now try to run it. Yeah, see what it is printing? It is printing this 10 20 30 40. This is the element, it is printing it. Okay, the same thing if you want to use with the simple for loop, you can also do that things like how for int I is equals to 0, I less than a array dot length, and I plus plus. Come here inside this, and after that we have to use the system.out.println. This is the thing we have to use it. So you can just simply copy, come down and paste it here, and here we don't need to use the element. Instead of element we have to use array of I. Okay, now I'm just giving some statement inside this, how we can recognize using for loop here, and here I'm just defining using for each loop. Okay, now you can just simply run it. Okay, so here you see using a for loop, for each loop. Here we have printed 10 20 30 40, and this one is using simple for loop. Here we got the same result. Okay, so this is the types of array that we have discussed today, like a single dimensional array, multi-dimensional array, and at the last we have a anonymous array. And the anonymous array we don't have inside our C and C++. Our entire Java, okay, is inherited from the C and C++, but the Java have introduced some new concept, that is anonymous. Okay, this is the thing, guys.